Hello and welcome to YASSERTV. Welcome to the channel, people. And yeah, man, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, it's been a while. I know. Big up to my guy Godfrey as well. Yeah, man, it's been a while. But 1 second. That's it. Yeah, man, I think the last thing I uploaded on the channel was the PSG match reaction. I think it was when they lost, when they won in the final. Other than that, I ain't really uploaded anything. You know what it is? For me, it was more that I'm not one of them people that likes this whole any news that drops, we have to speak about it. Because bro, you end up talking about 95 players and then you don't get any of them. You get it's just weird, man. Look at, for example, some of the things I'm going to talk about now, yeah? How they were supposed to be done, but never got done. And if I was sitting there saying the players come in, the players this, and then he never ever ends up coming. Bro, it's annoying. But obviously, big up everyone in the chat. Big up Godfrey. And big up my guy, the real king as well. And you know what? Let's get into this, innit? Let's get into this news. Let me see. The first thing I'm gonna start with, yeah, is Mr. Magnon. Do you know what I'm saying? Mr. Magnon. Yeah, we can do it like this. Okay. You see my man's in the corner. Okay. So, you know, yesterday, so after Sanchez made that mistake in the game against Flamengo, which I'm also going to talk about, we started getting all these briefs that were starting to tell us, Magnon, we're not in for Magnon. Chelsea are looking for goalkeepers now, and whatever. It don't make sense. I know that part of it is agent talk, some of it is AC Milan pushing stuff, some of it is Chelsea pushing stuff, because Chelsea doesn't want AC Milan or other clubs to know that they're desperate for a goalkeeper, so they're going to make it look like they're in for him, or they're not in for him, or they're not desperate. So these are some of the things that happen. Now, let me kind of go back on the whole Magnon deal, yeah, because a lot of people kind of don't pay attention to some of the things that they just read everything that's there. Sometimes they don't read in between the lines, and sometimes they do, and whatever, right? So let me give you a bit of an idea. Now, on the day the Magnon deal supposedly collapsed, Fabrizio dropped those tweets, yeah, deals off, whatever, Club World Cup tax, all of that kind of stuff. He was not wrong about that, but he went live after that, like literally 5 minutes after that, and then he basically said that the deal was off for that Club World Cup deadline. So it was definitely off for the Club World Cup deadline. So it wasn't fully off for the rest of the window, which he clarified basically when he got to his end of his whole speech about the whole Manyan deal and we didn't bid 18 million, some of those things were real, some of those things were fake. So when he got to the end of that is when he basically said, I can't say that the whole deal was finished. Does that make sense? So I've kind of held him up to that in terms of that's something I hope to happen, but at the same time, I'm trying to see what he's saying about it before I end up coming on it and saying, "Oh, the deal's done. The deal's done." But in reality, that's something that sounds more believable than, you know, they just pulled out the deal straight away. Because if they really wanted a goalkeeper and he's available, it's a weird way of looking at it. Because if you look at the whole deal itself, he's only got 1 year left, or this is the last year left in his contract. The longer the negotiations, or the longer no one gets an agreement with the club, as in AC Milan, the more stressed there will be, because the more likelihood the player will end up going on a free, or can negotiate with everyone else in January and can go out for a free next summer. So they don't want to risk. They're going to try push and see how much can we get from Chelsea. And Chelsea's basically trying to do this thing where how long can we wait until we see whether how much can we drop the price. And I'm with them on that. Like, I'm with them. You know what? Do your thing. See how much you can get him for. We've already agreed personal terms with him, really. So that's never been an issue. It's only the deal with now. I think we've offered 12. They won £12 million, I think, as well, euros. I don't exactly remember which one it is, but it depends on how much. Also, it's part of it is how much we really want him. If we want him, we could, essentially, if it gets to the end of the window, we can just slap the money and just get him. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just negotiations to see how low can I go until I buy him. That kind of thing. It's a weird one, but so I think we offered 15, but it was like we were basically 4 million off in terms of the valuation. It wasn't a lot, but it's still something that is a bit annoying because it's only 4 million. So I kind of understand when a lot of people were saying it's only 4 million. Why didn't he just pay the money? But at the same time, if that's the way they want to end up negotiating, that's business. Do you know what I mean? It's business. So it doesn't matter what I think, what everyone else thinks. If they can save 4, 5, 6 million, it is what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Because remember, we sent, who did we send there? Pulisic, Giroud, Loftus-Cheek, and we all basically gave them those players for low amounts. Do I think this goalkeeper's worth, I don't know, 60 million, 70 million? Probably, innit? He is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, especially with his delivery, his whatever. So he is a good player. So that's not the point. But they have some of these clubs have this tendencies of trying to get everyone for cheap from you, but the minute you want to sell, they want to sell something to you, it has to be expensive. Do you know what I mean? So because some of the money that you can save can potentially go towards another player for something else, especially with these PSR rules and stuff like that. And I'll pop something up later for the non-Chelsea fans or even the Chelsea fans to see how much their club is in PSR and stuff like that, because we had that conversation the other day. But I'll show you that. Didn't you guys? Oh yeah. Do you think he'll do better than last season? Brother, like, we're talking about transfers, fam. We'll talk about, do you think we'll do better next season later, fam? Do you know? Bro, why asking me a question about something else? Let's see. Yeah, see this picture now. This picture. Trophies are overhyped. Yeah. Yeah, this is what. What was I looking for again? Listen, I don't want to show no comms. This is YouTube, mate. This is YouTube. I can't show no comms on here. No. Let me just pop this back up again. So you got that. JB. So yesterday we got this weird thing coming up where it's like Fabrizio literally within 2 minutes or like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Sorry, it's 10 minutes. He said that we're not in for Manyan anymore, and then he said we're in for Manyan, and everyone's just confused because you're either in for him or you're not in for him. Other Chelsea sources are saying now we're still in for him, we're going to the end. Some people are saying so it's not known, but this is why you don't take every news as serious, innit? So not everything that you see, people just lose their mind over. Oh, we're getting this guy. No, we're not getting this guy. Oh, we're getting this guy. So it's just one of them ones. Yeah, we've seen it. We joked around with the whole Madueke stuff, but until you see concrete talks and stuff that are, telling you that it is something that you're gonna see, there is no point losing your head sometimes, because the Madueke stuff, for example, I know I'm veering off a little bit. The Madueke stuff is a bit more linked to Arsenal looking at him last season. Does that make sense? Because Arsenal looked at him last season. They kind of trying to push two and two together, and maybe because he played on the left wing, he might be better than he was the time before. So I understand the whole aspect and what people are looking at in that, in that aspect of those players. But you need to be able to read in between the lines, because some things are PR from the club. Some things are briefings from the agents trying to prop their player or put pressure on the club that they're negotiating with to get the things done quicker or to raise their price. So, not every deal gets done super fast, and not every deal actually gets done slowly, or whatever you want to call it. So you have to keep those things in consideration. And this is one of the reasons why I don't always lose my head with the transfer window and whatever. Because this is the thing. What you do is you assess that if you keep your head if you don't really stress about it, yeah, and you wait until the end of the season, the transfer window, and you say, okay, we've got this player, this is the player we needed, we got this player and that player. However, they messed up this deal and that deal and this deal. You can start now coming up, because now you have the facts, right? In terms of, what your club has done and hasn't done in terms of the outgoings and ingoings. And then you can now judge that transfer window with all the facts that you have. People just, because now patience has been ruined by Arsenal fans. I can't even say be patient, because then, because everyone just thinks, patience? How long are we going to be patient for? But the point here is like, you have to be patient to be able to actually assess it. This is when a lot of people speak way ahead of when things are happening. They're not going to do this. We're not getting top four. We're not winning this. We're not getting this player. We're not getting that player. So it's just too much kind of like waffle going on in it when it comes to this thing. Now, let me go to the latest, because I'm not trying to see all the things that don't matter. So before I go and speak about Jackson, I think this morning and yesterday, we got a link to Kolo Muani, and then there's a lot of people just, oh, he's experienced, he's 26, he's a, different profile, and bro, I laughed about getting Kolo Muani in January when I spoke to Timmy, when I had him on for, I think we done like a show or whatever at the time, or Ipswich preview, and that was one of them. Do you know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, has he been doing better since going to Juventus? I think he has. But that doesn't mean that just because you're linked with him, you just look for any positives and say, yeah, bring him. This is the thing. A lot of people just look for people that they like to bring. Do you know what I'm saying? More than what can that player offer us? What's that player's profile? And think of taking that player from the club he's in with the attributes and all those things that he has, and putting him in that team and saying, okay, if we play like this, what are the benefits? What can we get from him when he comes to our club, plays in the team? To get the point, those are the things that we should be looking at. But some players they just don't necessarily suit the team. Do you know what I mean? And I don't actually watch this guy so often, but I just think that we've already got this whole Dalap thing. If if he stays, then he stays. What's the other guy's name? Jackson. I'll speak about him as well quickly in a bit. Um, yeah. So also, this is the one that I kind of wanted to talk about, and that's obviously Gay. Now with Gay, we haven't really been linked with him, especially since the whole um when Liverpool links came back. Obviously, Liverpool sold Kwanzaa to Leverkusen, I think, for 40 million euros. Excuse me. And they then basically said that they want Gehi more. I think it's more to be backup, like the third defender. So after Kanate, I think it'd be like the backup to Kanate or whatever. The thing is, what I read earlier was that he wants to be, if he doesn't get, so I think Crystal Palace wants to sell him. He doesn't mind staying at Crystal Palace and extending his contract. I mean, it's staying to the end of his contract. And he wants to be a guaranteed starter if he leaves Crystal Palace. And I don't see him being a guaranteed starter unless, Konate obviously is known to be injury prone, wherever, and he also has had all those links to Real Madrid. So it's just one of those things where, depending on what happens, I don't know if we would be able to, because we've had a lot of links. He's one of those. He's a very good defender. I know he's not the tallest. I think he's 5'11". He's a lead. Like, he's known to be, have leader qualities from a younger age. So that's someone that we can make a lot of use from. But I'm not exactly sure why he would go to Liverpool. And that's not me saying Liverpool can't afford him or don't deserve him or anything like that. It's just that, for me, it's more, why are they not taking advantage of unless he comes in and becomes a starter. I don't see it. That's my thing. I'm not trying to fall for all this. The Usherman. My issue with Usherman is exactly what that did I read it earlier up here? Was it here? Was it somewhere else? Nah, it wasn't here. It was somewhere else. So apparently they were saying stuff about his behavior, his entourage, the fact that he loves it. I can't say that he loves money because obviously I don't know him personally, so I can't be that guy that just says, oh, he loves money and that's why he does what he does and he just wants the money move and blah blah blah. He has been offered 45 million euros, I think, a year from Saudi, which he rejected. Now they then came out and said he wants more money, or he's asking for too much. Usually that means he wants more money, right? So so you can't say, okay, but he's ambitious. I think he wants everything to go the way he wants it. So he wants the money that he wants. He wants to go to the club that he wants to go to. He wants to be paid the way he wants to pay. You know what I mean? And then this is the thing with Osherman as well. So when he ends up at your club and there's disagreements, he's one of those guys that will do what he did to the Nigerian coach and all that, where he starts cussing the Nigerian coach on Instagram Live. He's one of them characters that, okay, cool, he might be a character, but if it goes left, I don't want someone like him around the young squad. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him. Nah, it's a weird one. I just don't want to have those kind of vibes. We already have similar vibes with Jackson on like a B-Tech level. I don't want anyone that just comes and just disrupts everything. Right? I'm not saying I don't want characters, but there's levels in it. Big up Luca as well. Do you think we'll get Sesko or Gyökeres? I don't know, man. Like, the longer it's been going on, yeah, the more I think you might get neither. I have a feeling. I'm not saying it can't be Gyökeres, because they always link him. He likes the club, blah blah blah. I've even seen the video of his friends saying, "Just come to Arsenal." But for me, I don't know, man. I think you'll just end up trying to negotiate, and then you'll end up getting that. What's his name? I forgot his name, man. What's his name? You'll get Watkins or something, bro. because he's your fail safe, whatever they try to call it, fail safe. If the move does all the moves that they want don't actually go through, then that might be the player that you're trying to get. Okay, so why is Mark Gay trending all of a sudden? Paul Joyce. Okay, Paul Joyce. Liverpool interested in Crystal Palace. Palace ask a private to determine if they now look to sign a player on a free. Okay. Yeah, and this is what I said earlier. Mark Gay is fully prepared to see out final year of his Crystal Palace contract and leave on the free. They just don't want that. Obviously the club doesn't want that. The João Pedro stuff that was happening last week as well. I don't really think he'll come to Chelsea anyway. I think we inquired about him, and that's the thing with our club. Sometimes we have this thing where we speak to different clubs about different players, and kind of agree a deal in case we do want to come in and buy him. We might even sort out some agreements, and then we'll keep moving to different targets. And then if, let's say, for whatever reason we can't get our main targets, we'll just switch around and just snap the player like this. We'll just, because we've already got agreements with the club and everything. So a lot of the time some people think that their clubs aren't doing anything, but in reality they're doing things in the background. But I think Newcastle, and this is where a lot of people think that Newcastle might be preparing for a potential sale of Isak, is by getting João Pedro. I'm not saying he's on his level, and I'm not saying that he's actually his backup. Like, do you get what I'm saying? But sometimes clubs will still buy someone just to be in that position, just in case if they end up losing Isak. But I don't think that will happen this season anyway. I think Liverpool are just planting the seed, and yeah, Godfrey's right. I think he can be the Konate replacement. And bro, imagine you have Van Dijk and Gahey, two leaders in the back. That's like, obviously one's better than the other in terms of leader, but you have. Yeah, it's like one of them versatile players, isn't it? Like, you can play him on the left, you can play up front, similar to like an Eze who can play like in the 10 on the left and stuff like that. Sometimes it's not just about getting the player, it's getting that extra body in that can help the team out in certain ways. And then also, if you lose a player, you still have someone that you can play there, because I'm pretty sure they let Callum Wilson go as well. So speaking about the whole Gittins thing, um I mean, current football, this is where football's at in it, in terms of, I personally didn't want Jadon Sancho to leave. Yeah, we can't control the whole wages thing. There was some rumors that we had agreed his wages like in the beginning, in terms of, when you get, like, how people agree wages in terms of like before the whole loan thing. So you say your wages are going to be this much, blah blah blah, and then if you end up staying, this is how much your wages is going to be with us, blah blah blah. I think that due to his slight inconsistency with where his form and whatever, they may have, when the end of the season came in, they have a feeling they told him they're gonna give him less wages, and then he probably rejected it. Yeah, if that is the case, I thought that because of the way his whole contract thing went, is good. Like, I thought now his season went, and maybe he was happy, whatever, that he might be able to take less money to come to Chelsea. He didn't. One of the main reasons I wanted him is not just because I know the quality of that player, bro. Look, if you look at that left wing transfer market, it's dying, bro. It's so dead. But a lot of people want what's it called, that sprinter, innit? We have obviously had it in Mudryk, but like that guy who just runs down the line, cuts in and shoots. That's all they want. Couple step overs and you shoot. People just want those kind of wingers, innit? The goal scoring wingers, that kind of thing. So every winger has to be a goal scoring winger. If he's not a goal scoring winger, then you know what I mean, it's rubbish. That's how they're looking at it. So obviously Gittins used to be was part of the City Academy. This, if you really look into his whole time at Dortmund, he was starting to play and everything like that. And then I think when remember they had a few couple of coaches, and I think when the last one came in, he played a different tactic, so he just benched him. He hasn't been getting a lot of opportunities. I think we bidded 50 for him, which is what they asked, and then they said no, which didn't make sense. But the point I'm making here, is that if you really, I know 65 is a lot, yeah, like you say in Godfrey, but the thing that people don't think that it's the market that dictates those players' values, isn't it? So Gittins, a couple of years back, might have been like a 30 million pound winger, but even Garnacho now, yeah, people are talking about 40 million. He's not even worth 10 million or 20 million. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a PR 20 million, slap the money. So this is the thing. So if so, the value isn't always that, but it just depends on what they end up doing. Because for me personally, I think he'll help us, especially on that left wing. Having watched him, I think from what I've seen is that he doesn't take long to make that decision. So he's one of those players that cuts in and he shoots straight away, or he takes that shot early. He doesn't cut in and then change his mind, and then it's all fake shots like Madueke. This is the thing about like a Madueke. If he makes his decisions earlier, or if he just shoots, or sometimes you just have to do it and not think about it too much. And I think so a lot, the players that think about it too much is when you see them do fake shots, and then they end up running down the line and the ball goes out, or now his body positioning isn't right, so he's just falling on the floor. So that is actually, yeah. Sancho's a tidy player, he's a creator, no mad wing, yeah. But also his name got stained a little bit. Look like an Anthony, bro. People were laughing at Anthony. Now, you know what I mean? No one's chatting rubbish about him anymore. Do you know? He's basically proved it. So, yeah, Esteval. That's it. The thing is, I'm not necessarily putting a lot of pressure on someone like Esteval. I think that he obviously has to come in, try the league out, see what he can do, understand his teammates, the runs they make, all these things that you have to do on the pitch, especially when you're creating, or you have to understand when someone makes a run, when someone, if he goes this way. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys watch it. Do you remember the Liverpool game when they've already won the league? Do you remember? Chelsea played Liverpool, and then when Lavia made that pass to Palmer, when he turned on someone, I forgot what it was. You saw when he timed it. He waited. Palmer went out wide, went back in, and then he turned on the player, and that's when he released the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Because some players just wait for you to make a move and they'll just pass the ball straight away, and you might be thinking, okay, I'm not gonna go anymore. He might not pass the ball. So you want all those things help when the more you play with the players, the more you understand the system, because now it's more system based than individuality. So you have to understand where everyone's gonna be and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, people. But this is another thing, Godfrey. Big up AJ as well in the chat. Big up. If the way the whole system things work is that the way you bring things in on the system is like, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because every time you look at the whole, okay, how we're gonna play, we already bought players beforehand. So Asugo's coming, Omega's gonna come in next year, Quenda's coming in next year. Santos is coming, which I'm gonna talk about before I end the stream as well. Big up my brother Touchline, man. Hope you're doing well, bro. And we've signed players before everyone else signed players. So the players, even though a lot of people think that we're not active in the window, we've already got players that come in, players that might be going out. Fair enough. I haven't really heard anyone's name linked away except for Jackson, but that could be more, just random transfer like talk, just because he made the mistake, right? Or red card, whatever it is. Yeah, I've seen Rashi beg for Barca as well. I've seen that. There's nothing really other than that. Yes, we still had the Kudus talk. The Kudus talks for me is like, there's a possibility that we get Kudus, and we were linked to him before that as well. So with the whole Kudus stuff, for me personally, is that it's just one of them things where if he comes in, he'll bring like a different dimension. He's also a bit more direct ball carrier. You know what I mean? It changes the way our attack works, because our wingers have been quite poor. But having that striker now can give them a different dimension, which is what we're looking for as well. Yeah, Santos is there. Do you see him getting decent minutes though? Santos, yeah. Or okay, this is the thing. So our whole fan base has been having a meltdown because they've expected to see him play. The manager hasn't played him, and I've been saying, listen, yeah, I know that we all want to see some of our players or the specific ones play or whatever, but at the same time, if you gonna lose your head of a manager not playing a player, then bro, if you want to control it, because that's how it is. Some people just feel like I would have played him and I would have done this and that. Brother, just go and play FIFA career mode, man. You can play the player you want. You can sell the player you want. It doesn't always work like that. Do you know what I'm saying? But with Santos, I think he will get his opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? I just think that this is just the way it was worked. Like I think Enzo Maresca was experimenting because this is also the preseason, friend. Like it's a preseason and the competition. He's been obviously some of the things he's done were a bit weird, but if this is when he's gonna experiment, then why not? I just don't want him to experiment during the season, so I'd rather him experiment now. I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Just experiment, just don't do it later. So I do hear that though. I think he should be getting more minutes sooner or later, because eventually some of these players have to get a break. People like Caicedo have to get a break. Enzo has to get a break because they've been playing for the whole season. Do you know what I'm saying? I think I've seen someone earlier. Who was it? Did someone ask me a question or did I read someone? Yeah, see, then he one hit. Someone here says Chelsea have not given up on Manian, but someone else is saying they have given up on Manian. This is what I'm saying, that it's not necessarily a big thing when it comes to that. Now go back quickly to Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson. I think the only way they'll sell Nicholas Jackson, I think, is for around 60 million. Like, by the way, I'm not saying he's worth like 60 million, whatever, but you need to look at it also from clubs' perspectives. They're looking at, oh, he can, his hold up play is not the worst. He drives with the ball. His link up play is good, whatever. If we can fix his finishing or coach him or blah blah blah, maybe we can get more out of him. We're getting someone for cheaper, because when him and Palmer were cooking, there was some places that were giving us like £150 million valuation for Jackson because of how cheap we bought him and how market value goes. But that value is probably slapped back down anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he's worth that much. Before anyone says and it tells me that you think he's worth that much, no. But a lot of people actually rate Jackson higher than we do. We just don't like the fact he can't finish, which is a big problem. Always very inconsistent, and I think now him seeing players come in his position is slowly making him lose his head. Do you know what I'm saying? I think he knows his spot is in danger, and he's not able to just keep it calm. Do you know what I mean? That mistake he made, that red card the other day. My issue was not really that he got the red card, because when he got the red card, I was like, okay, cool, he's lost his head, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was a foul. But when you see what he was doing at that moment, as in the ball's coming across, it might be going just ahead of you. So why not trying to poke it away? Like, why is your foot so high? Like you're trying to stand in front of the opponent to kind of shield it when it's so far away from you, where you can just kind of like, when you just try to, like, you stick your leg out just to kind of push it away from the player so then you can keep running. It was a weird one. Like, why is your foot so high and now you've, hit the guy and now you obviously got stamped on it, bro? So I can't argue with that, but that was stupid. So it's more IQ based for me with him. And he keeps saying it's a small mistake. I didn't think at the time, bro. It's not thinking, bro. You didn't know what you were doing, because that is just not normal for you to do that in that position. This is not like, two players facing each other in the middle of the park and, he's trying to control the ball or something. No one controls the ball like that. So, yeah, Neto, Palmer, Kudus, Delap. Are you happy with that? I am. I wouldn't say happy. Like, I wouldn't say it's like Verge, Turkey, this guy. I don't think it's that level of whatever. I've been someone that's been calling for Delap for a while. So Delap has been someone that I've really wanted at my club. Um, yes, I'm the one that was calling him probably the next Kane and that. But the point I was trying to make is that yes, we bought him for 30 million, but don't be surprised if he's one of them guys that if you didn't end up buying him, you'd have to spend 80 million next summer from someone else to get him. So if that was, do you know what I'm saying? If he stays one more season because of the level of quality he's at, the market is gone anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if it's up 60 on Jackson and selling. Well, the 45-55 is the one is the number they tried to that way would be asking for a Madueke, bro. And that came out from I think it was Ben Jacobs or someone that said that. So yeah. That's the thing, and this is why the whole buying and selling thing is a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them things. So buying and selling is important in that aspect. So the market's gone anyway. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if it was like the Newcastle game, Jackson weren't even focusing on the ball. Yeah, it's similar to that. It's similar to that. So, and it's one of them that don't make sense. So if he went in and accidentally took out the player, or like a 50-50, and it kind of was a bit more like an orange whatever, like orange card or whatever you want to call it, then fair enough. We can say he made the mistake and X, Y, and Z, and people would say it's just unlucky. But that's not unlucky, bro. That's just dumb. Do you know what I mean? That's just dumb. Moving on, that's probably the only few players that we have been linked with, that the ones I've already mentioned. No, not really anyone else. We've got linked to the Wesley guy from Flamengo. Apparently Chelsea inquired about him. Sorry. But maybe, I don't know, maybe he impressed them, innit? I don't know. Other than that, I still would like to see another striker come in. The one person that I haven't mentioned who we've been linked with for a while was Ekatike. Ekatike, it looks like, they're calling him Timu Isak or B-Tech Isak or whatever they want to call it. I just think that he's a good player, but not worth £84 million, which is 100 million euros. And I think we did hear recently that they're willing to drop their valuations from to roughly like 65 to 80 million pounds, I think it was. So they're willing to drop their price more, or euros, I don't know which one it was. They're willing to drop their price anyway because they're starting to realize that, okay, maybe no one ends up buying him, and then we might not be able to command that level of money anymore. This is why waiting. And there's also this weird thing going on in the market where there's a lot of clubs waiting for someone else to make the first move. So if Liverpool, for example, doesn't necessarily want to buy Yoko, like they don't want to buy, let's say for example, and then Ketike and then Isak's available, and then Chelsea buys him or Arsenal buys him, and then they lose on those players. So it's one of those things where everyone's looking at what everyone else is doing to see who's making that first move on which player is going to get what. And I think essentially what could happen is that whoever ends up without the striker that they want will probably just go and get Osimhen at the end. Like Osimhen is almost like the punishment you get at the end. You know what I'm saying? No one really wants him, but they won't, you know what I mean? He's brought so much baggage with him that he's the last person people want. They rate him, but he's just the last person they want. What I'll do now quickly is also... Yeah. Isak. Even the thing a lot of people don't know about is that Chelsea, last summer we inquired about him. We actually went to Newcastle and spoke to him, and they said they want 150 million for him. And then, and a lot of teams also, what they're doing is, and Chelsea does this a lot, where let's say Arsenal goes to inquire about Gyökeres, they'll just, it's like, when you're in your exams and you're just looking across to see what answer the guy next to you's put. That's what they're doing. So they look across, to see how much So how much you got to, like, how much the agreement is, how much money you've agreed with the club, how much the personal terms are. You know what I'm saying? You basically do all the legwork. We'll find the answers, and then we'll see if we're willing to pay that or pay more than that. And then we just he just snap that player away from you before you get him. That's what a lot of clubs do, and this is why they do more like observing than they actually go and then they do the whole scouting, because sometimes it's easier, because there is a, yeah, because sometimes those players are the actually good players. So what's the point of you putting all the legwork in when you can focus on your number two while that person is doing that thing, and then you can just go and snap him up? If a lot of the times, if the player does know that you're interested in him, but you're just telling him, you know what, keep doing your negotiations with that club, we'll get back to you later. So at least the player knows you're interested in him. The big mistakes the dumb clubs do is that they just try to listen to everything, and then once they come in, like Liverpool tried to do with Caicedo and Lavia. Well, not Lavia, more Caicedo. And then he was like, well, I've already given my word to Chelsea, so I'm not coming to you. It's not like Liverpool aren't attractive or he wouldn't have gone to them, but it's more like you should have actually showed them more interest. When Lavia was the opposite. They kept trying to point penny pinch, penny pinch, penny pinch, and then when it got to the end, and they realized that, you know what, Chelsea's interested. Oh my days! We'll pay the money, and he was like, nah, and he tried to play me and whatnot. What? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm gone, and he's gone. So that's some of the points, obviously, with the things that we're talking about here. Quickly, Petrovic. Now, Petrovic is another issue, because Petrovic is the person who I thought would be our number one this season. Unfortunately, he's come back in, and there's a few things going on here. So he basically told the club, from what we've heard, that he wants to be a guaranteed starter or he wants to leave. Now, then he didn't get included in the Club World Cup team, or then they said that he didn't get included, or he said he didn't want to be included if he's not guaranteed a starting position. If he was guaranteed a starting position, they wouldn't be going for Manyan, because if they went to get Manyan, they wouldn't have told Manyan that he was sitting on the bench. So that doesn't make sense either. I think that Petrovic has showed enough to tell us that he's worthy of a spot in the team, and also, you know, he should be. It's a weird one, because the goalkeepers we have, I don't have an issue with Jurgensen necessarily, right? I haven't seen him play long enough to say that he's trash and he shouldn't be playing. But then also, if you look at the Sanchez guy, just has to go. The problem is that if you're gonna bring Petrovic, he has to be the guy who plays, for example, in the Club World Cup, proves himself, and you put him in that number one position, and then you can get someone else. But if someone like a Manyan is available, he should be able, or he could be our number two, and then someone else our number three, that Jurgensen guy, right? And then you just sell Sanchez. In every avenue, every possibility, sell Sanchez, innit? I'm not with this whole keep Sanchez thing. He's done well in the last couple of games in the season and all that. I don't care, innit? Just sell him, bro. And he showed us the other day that he can do that. He can go back to his factory settings and start to do all these weird stuff. So I don't want him around anyway. I would, yes, be disappointed if he left, because I just feel like it's more of like a, I don't know, it's like the Emi Martinez situation at Arsenal. Do you remember? But the difference is that Emi Martinez actually played for Arsenal, and he showed that he deserved the number one spot, but he wasn't given it. He hasn't actually played for us. He played for Strasbourg. Now, I still think that he should be able to. I think he's a bit more like, obviously, knowing that Sanchez and that is in the same team. My thing was that he should have come on and said, I want to get my chance to prove that I should be number one. Does that make sense? He should be putting himself in contention to prove that he can be number one. The issue is that he wants to be a guaranteed starter. If he's been given that guaranteed starter and it doesn't work, we're doomed, bro. because we'll go into the season saying Petrovic is our starter, and then we'll see. And then if he doesn't end up being good enough, you're doomed again, because then you don't have that quality. So I don't think guaranteeing him number one is that good. I think if he's willing to fight with Manyan over the first spot, then great. Do you know what I'm saying? And then we can just put Jorgensen third. Simple. Sanchez is a scrub was third choice. Yeah. We know that he's a. West Ham's interested in him as well. And I think being Chelsea, we will try to do this whole. We'll give you a player, you'll take a player. Do you know what I mean? Kudos. You know what I'm saying? We will find a way. Obviously, I think we tried to do KDH. We tried to. They were even interested in Sanchez at some point. So we will find somewhere, some way to do something. You know what I'm saying? To get one of the players that we want to get another player. But it would be disappointing to see someone like Petrovic leave, knowing how good he's been last season, to be fair. So hopefully they get that situation sorted out. And quickly we'll speak about Mr. Mudrik. Mr. Mudrik, okay, cool. So Mikhailo Mudrik. So with the Mudrik situation, a lot of people have, how can we put this, bro? A lot of people have done him dirty in the sense of not understanding how court stuff works, innit? So what I mean by that is, so you basically, when you get arrested by the police because you've done something, for example, you committed a crime, right? If I said, let's say the real king has stole something from this shop when I used to work as a security guard, right? You'll get arrested just because just because I said you've done it, and you'll get arrested temporarily, right? To hold you and say you are being X, Y, and Z. So they'll either charge you for committing the crime because they've seen the CCTV footage, or they'll say you have been arrested on suspicion, right? Which means what? It's all allegations. You have to still prove yourself. So what happens is you go into the cell, you go to whatever, you have a little hearing, right? On the hearing, which is like, okay, cool, are we gonna give him bond? Is he pleading guilty or not? Right? If you plead guilty, then he just gets forwarded. This is what you're gonna do, X, Y, and Z, blah 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 blah. This is the amount of years you're gonna get. Bye bye. If you plead not guilty, it goes to trial, where you have to bring all your proof, evidence, and they have to bring all their evidence, and then they have to prove whether you're guilty or not guilty. From what we heard from Mudrik is that he said he's not guilty. He's stamped and said, I'm not. I don't know how it come into my system. Just to give you an idea, someone like Onana, he took tablet. Well, according to him, he took his mom's tablet. So oh yeah, his wife's tablet. Do you know what I'm saying? He took his wife's tablet. So he took his wife's tablet. Do you get what I'm saying? And he thought it was paracetamol or something. So that's on him, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's different between cheating and actually just being dumb, innit? So you will still get charged, but it just tells you that it's not intentional, if that even makes sense. Now, then you have like the case of Jack Sinner. Jack Sinner is that Italian tennis player. Big up TK as well, my brother. And he, I think if I remember correctly, he went to get a massage from a physiotherapist or something, who applied a cream on him, who, when he went to do the test, found out that he failed the test because of something that's in that cream that he didn't know about. So you can feel things, not necessarily, brother, not everything you do you're gonna like, because obviously the Mudrik thing happened in Ukraine, right? Ukraine, international football, whatever, like, it happened over there. So there's, even let's say you're part of someone in the physio team is telling you, yo, listen, you got issues here, you know what, we'll use this cream on you, whatever. You don't even know what he's talking about. You're just saying, yeah, calm. Now, you could say it's on him, whatever, but we don't actually know anything yet. These are all charges, they're not convictions. I'm not like defending him, but I'm not one of those people that just run past the thing and just say, oh yeah, he's done it, which is what everyone said about Benjamin Mendy, bro. He got 30 charges, he done it. You can't get 30 charges if you haven't done it. That's what people were saying. I'm not in this whole slandering other men, you know what I'm saying, without knowing, even females or men, whatever it is, for things that you don't know have they done it or they haven't done it, ruin man's life, and then say, oh, sorry, you know, oh, I didn't know, I didn't see that evidence. That's not on me, bro. You get me? How? Let me give someone the benefit of the doubt, and then if I have proof that they've done it or they've been found guilty, cook them. Do you know what I'm saying? They deserve to be cooked, so cook them. Don't ruin a guy's life before you know anything, just to show that you know something, or just to feel like you're cooking someone. And then when trial comes up and the thing ends, all of a sudden, do you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden it's, oh, we didn't know that he's done some. Oh, we didn't know he didn't actually done something, brother. Like, give someone the benefit of the doubt. Just because something's found in their system does not mean necessarily they were cheating. Is it the right thing? So the way it works with the whole cheating, the football whole cheating stuff, is that I think what happens is they are really, the way the punishment works kind of depends on whether you've done it, how it got into your system, whether it was on purpose or not. That you'll still get, just for having it in your system, you'll still get a ban. But like you've seen with like a Pogba or whatever, it can be like 18 months and whatever, not 4 years. The 4 years comes from it being, it's almost like if you get done for murder, first degree murder, for example, it's 25 years. Do you know what I mean? That's the number gets thrown out, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily getting 25 years. So this is where we talk about that specific situation and say, people were saying, oh, you got 4 years, up to 4 years, he's cooked. And I'm like, brother, you don't know this. Do you know what I mean? They took their number off him, as in his shirt number. They took some other stuff out, like whatever. You're not seeing him as much, but that's just because they know he's not going to be part of the squad at the moment, so they can just pass that shirt to someone else. They want to make use of the shirt because commercial stuff, whatever. So yeah, that's my 2 pence about the whole Mudryk situation. We'll see what happens. And another thing that I want to say is that charge that came in that we've seen recently, where everyone, all the people were dropping it. We already thought that was going to happen anyway. Once you get the whole, allegation against you, you will get charged. We just never knew that the charge is gonna happen 6 months later or 7 months later. Do you know what I mean? 7 months later, you only get a charge, but then they still haven't told us about the B sample. If they said he also failed the B sample, then we're like, okay, cool, it's back to back. You kind of get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I didn't even know you were in a mud already. Do you know what I'm saying? That was mad. Big up Ravi as well, man. It doesn't help that Mudryk ain't a big name as well. They would have never banned a big player for 4 years. Bro, speaking about the Jack Sinner guy, I think he only went away for a couple of months and he was back straight playing tennis. And all these people were saying, oh, I shouldn't be back, blah, blah, blah. But he was literally back like this. So if it's not like a purpose thing, then it kind of makes sense where, or if it's not something that you were in control of, but people just sometimes, they could still be that doubt that you may have done it on purpose, but you're acting like you never done it on purpose, which I also get from people anyway. Like I hear that you can't always guarantee that the person weren't cheating, so you might as well slap him with the you know what I mean? But this can ruin careers. So it's not something that you'd like to see. And I think what it is with Mudryk. He's kind of been unlucky at Chelsea in terms of when he first came in. The things people don't know about him, he's only played 30 professional games in his professional career. So we probably shouldn't have spent all that money on him. So we only spend that money on him based on potential. I might just be live for another 5-10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be here for long, Vigilante. So just tell him to raid someone else. Thank you though, yeah? Who was it going to be? Who else is it going to be? So he only had like 30 professional games. He never did. He's obviously moved to a different country, difficult league. His family stayed in Ukraine, so it's not the same as having them around when you're as young as you are with coming over. What else is it? The first manager came in, he never really gave him a chance, and that's when we had that blowout squad, which I think was Potter. Lampard just never gave him a chance either. Big up Views on Sport for the raid, man. Big up, bro. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And yeah, man. And on top of that, what happened is with him is that he, when Poch came in, he also basically just started playing him in the left-hand space, Gallagher in the 10. He never really got the running he deserves. And when he was playing well, he get benched. So these are some of the small things that we look at in terms of a development on a player that's as young as him at the time, yeah? A lot of people are only looking at his price tag, which is not right, but I know that these things happen, innit? So, yeah, man. It's unfortunate. And when he finally got coached properly on the Maresca, is when we actually started seeing Mudryk playing well. And I think for that's, you know what I mean, it's he's finally started playing well. He had a spot in the team in terms of he'd actually he'd come on and actually affect. So he'd come off the bench and basically start stretching the pitch and doing his thing, and he started getting better and better. And obviously, it's unfortunate what he's going through, but now we also have to, get other players to replace him and see if he's going to be back, if he's not going to be back. The only benefit for him in this is that he, what I'm saying, he might play until he's 50 now. You know what I'm saying? If you got a couple of years of not playing, he might be able to prolong his career because he's not playing right now. But yeah, besides that, there isn't anything. Big up my guy, Mr. Views on Sport, for the raid, because you're in the chat. I can actually say thank you. Much appreciated. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. And yeah, man, there's nothing else to really talk about. Like, the news itself's kind of dead. All these things that people are mentioning in terms of what players come in where, which players go in where, it's like all these things that it's all rumors and agent talk, man. And it's something that you have to be able to know what you take serious and what you don't take serious. You don't just want to be believing in everything, because it's like you're just going like by the wind. You just fly one side and then you fly to the other side stressed. Then you're gassed thinking you're getting a player. Then you're not gassed thinking a player. Bro, every time I walk out of my room to come back in, there's a new thing coming up. I'll sit back down. Oh, Gyökeres is going to Arsenal. By the time I leave the house, okay, I have to delete the video because, they said it's not him, it's Sesko. Oh, we had the whole Manyan thing. People were saying it's done and dusted. It will be done. You turn around, come back in, deal off. So, we all want our clubs to do the job, to put us in the best position. Do you know what I'm saying? To put us in the best position to win things. And those are the things that we, don't necessarily see all the time, innit? That's the thing. I've seen people moan about things, and my fan base is just so reactionary. There's no calmness. They turned the whole internet upside down because Santos didn't start. Reece James is in midfield. Oh, why is Reece James in midfield? Why? And I'm like, bro, this is a pre-season. It's not a friendly, but this is our pre-season because we don't really have a pre-season. So the manager is going to have to try things, right? Try things in pre-season to see what he can and can't do in games. The whole, people always call people like the Pep disciples, all these kind of stuff, yeah? If you think about it, the way they play footballs, it's like almost like a chess game, innit? Can we draw this person out and move the ball over here? This player has... If I have a Reece James in midfield, I can use his strength and his ability on the ball for him to do this, and that. Which if I just have him as a midfielder, he might be limited in that term. Or I can get the ball delivery from here to here. There's all these ideas that sometimes these managers come up with during the games because they want to achieve something in game. So what I mean by that is, if you remember years ago, like a couple of years back when Man City went to play Real Madrid, and then Pep came up with this thing where he put KDB false 9, Jesus left wing, and then I think it was Zinchenko inverting, and with all of that, people looked at that and said, he's overthinking it, he's overthinking it. But when it actually works, it looks crazy. Because it's like, he's fully figured them out and they haven't been able to get onto him, right? If it doesn't work, it's when you have to be adjustable in game. So what then happens is Maresca can say, okay, cool, I'm taking Gusto off, who was playing right back. I'll move Reece James out of the midfield, I'll put another midfielder in, or I'll play another, well, you know what I mean? So you can move things around instead of doing that. So it's very important. So you don't necessarily have to stress. This is pre-season. I'm not saying I don't want to win the Club World Cup trophy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, let the manager try things, bro. Because I just don't want him to try these things in the season when I need to win games. And my manager's trying to invert the midfielder outwards. And I don't want to try all that. Try that now. And some people are saying, well, why didn't he try it against the easier team, which is the team we're playing next, the Tunisian team? Why trying it against Flamengo? But how do you know that your experiment has been successful if you play it against a not lesser team, but you get the point, an easy team? Then how do you know that the experiment worked or you've beaten them because the team's easy to beat? Does that make sense? So was it because of what you done you beat them, or is it because of the level of opponent? Does that make sense? So this is something important to also keep in mind. I know the difference between us and Arsenal fans in terms of why they always stress 24/7. It's because there's a pattern. With Arsenal, there's a pattern where if every time the new the test sample quality, so yeah, 100%, you know. But also with Arsenal fans, I'm not even an Arsenal fan, I know this. There's a thing that always happens. You come in, you link to everyone, you think you might buy someone, you might even be lucky and you buy someone that you need. You get all the talks. The closer you get to the end of the window, the more worried you should be. Because a lot of the times, the closer it gets to the window closing, the more likely you're going to end up buying a scrub from another club, right? Whether it's my club usually or someone else's club. So I know that this season, I understand that this season, the reason why everyone's so stressed is because they're like, just buy the player we need. Don't wait. You've already got Kepa, or you potentially be getting Kepa. Zubamendi, we got 3 here we goes for Zubamendi, which never made sense. So, you know, it's some of these things are embarrassing. I can't lie. They are embarrassing because exactly. Yeah, man said he don't last. Why Sunderland, bro? You know what I mean? But you're right. Because in that game he then knows what players can do for him, what the players can add in terms of, you know, a different dynamic, or if something happens in game and a player gets sent off, can I put this player in midfield? Can I trust him? Reece James is one of the few players that can start to play in midfield. He plays in midfield in terms of not inverting to midfield. He can start in midfield. Do you know what I'm saying? He can play in midfield. Whereas if you can't put a Trent in midfield. A Trent can invert into midfield, but if you remember the Euros games, he cannot play in midfield because he doesn't understand all the traffic. He starts looking around thinking, why is that player going this way? Why is he going that way? It's just not normal to him, innit? And then what other player should we think about? Yeah, that's it really. Like, other than that, I don't have an issue. I'm looking at what players we get, and then when the transfer window closes, I will be doing more streams anyway. But when the transfer window closes is when I'm gonna do like a transfer window review, and I'm gonna speak about the whole window in terms of those aspects in it, and I'll let you guys know about that. Either way, well, Luca, I did say yeah, you're gonna get Watkins, and I don't. You might get one of the two, but then I think if that doesn't work out, you'll get Watkins, innit? For me, it's more like Sesko, but then Watkins. Either way, big up to everyone. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 500 subscribers. I just have to go real quick because I just got a phone call. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe. I will be coming back. I'll probably do a season review, Probably do football bingo. I don't know. I will try to do more streams anyway. I have been away, but I'll be back. I'm back now. And I will be doing the Blue Brother show and the Football Frenemy show. So I will be bringing some Rabble fans on to speak about their club and our club. In the meantime, make sure you stay safe, slap the likes and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.